We hear a lot today about what AI does for ERP solutions, and there are a lot of myths in terms of what it can do for organizations. With me, I have here Chiamaka today. Welcome, Chiamaka.
Thank you, Shira.
What are the key things that you notice when you go about meeting clients in various industries as the biggest challenge within cloud ERP?
AI actually has a lot of tangible benefits to give to clients, especially those using the cloud ERP solutions. And one of them is one that can be found in reconciliation, especially for the finance teams.
I think it would be good to get an overview of what it is today and what it is evolving into.
Certainly.
That would be great.
Certainly.
Over the past few years, I have worked with organizations across industries and regions, helping them implement and optimize D365 F&O. And one of the most exciting shifts I have seen recently is how Microsoft is embedding AI directly into the core of the platform, and which is what exactly we are going to explore. We're not talking about AI in theory, we're talking about 4 specific features that are already within Dynamics 365 Finance. These features are features that your finance teams can use to work faster, make better decisions, and spend less time clicking through records. So here's what we'll cover. A quick foundation, what AI in D365 F&O actually means, account reconciliation agent, what I think is the biggest shift in financial flows, collections coordinator summary, Copilot for your AR team, customer page summary, instant customer intelligence, workflow history summary, no more scrolling through approval logs, and then our conclusion. Before we jump into the individual features, I would want to give you a mental model for what has actually changed. Prior to now, traditional ERP systems, D365 inclusive as well, were fundamentally reactive. Something happens, a transaction gets posted, a journal is submitted, a report gets run, a human reviews it, and then a decision is made. That whole loop from event to insights to action could take hours, sometimes days. And what Microsoft has done with Copilot and AI agents in D365 is to compress that loop. The system doesn't wait for you to go looking for a problem. It surfaces the right information at the right moment and the right context while you're already within the workflow. So AI in finance and operations shows up in 3 modes: sidecar, an AI chat pane that opens on the right side of your workspace, allowing natural language conversations for general help, guidance, and complex data querying. Embedded, AI tools built directly into specific pages and workflows, offering automated contextual insights, content generation, and document summaries without having to ask. Agentic, autonomous agents that monitor, evaluate, and act on your behalf based on the roles that you configure. The key thing is to understand that all is powered by the Azure OpenAI, but they operate on your data inside your D365 environment. Microsoft doesn't use your data to train models, so security, role-based access, and data isolation are all respected. So let's go into these features. The first on our list is the account reconciliation agent, which I think is the biggest shift in financial closing. The account reconciliation agent represents a transformative step towards a continuous financial close and offers significant benefits to Microsoft's customers. So with it, I would say the process shifts away from a reactive approach that relies mostly on the SSRS reports for reconciliation. And in place of that approach, the agent introduces a proactive experience. So if you've worked in finance, you know the same. It is month end, your team is in the office late, or at least in some chaos of calls and emails trying to generate SSRS reports, comparing sub-ledger balances to the general ledger, chasing down mismatches. One error cascades into 3 follow-up journal entries, and this closing period stretches over days. For most organizations, reconciliation has become a period-end sprint rather than an ongoing discipline, and the account reconciliation agent changes the model entirely. So rather than waiting for period end to surface discrepancies, this agent operates continuously. It monitors subledger to general ledger balances in near real time across bank accounts, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and tax. And when this discrepancy is detected, it raises an exception in the account reconciliation workspace. And it then evaluates that exception and provides a recommended action. For example, it could say, create a journal entry for a voucher amount mismatch, or even reverse, depending on what the scenario is. Every action, every recommendation, every resolution is logged in a full audit trail. So instead of your team discovering mismatches during close, the system notifies them as they arise with guidance on how to fix them. A quick look into the system to see how this plays out in a demo. So for the account reconciliation agent, for us to see that in action, what it looks like and how this plays out in the system, we would navigate to the system. Of course, it's important to note that for the account reconciliation agent to work, you have to be on version 44 and above for your ERP system. This has been set up, and I would click on the workspaces, account reconciliation. Now, for the purpose of this demo, we have set up this to review for this physical period, the period 6, and for the two legal entities, DMF and USMF, in all the areas. The areas we'll be looking at, or rather the agent looks at, is the accounts payable, accounts receivable, bank, and tax. Now we can see within the screen that our statuses for these areas, for some areas fully reconciled, or some others not fully reconciled, and we have exceptions. Also within the screen, we'll be looking at, or rather the system looks at and puts transactions in 3 boxes: the reconciled transaction boxes, the addressed exception boxes, and the open exceptions. For the reconciled transaction, these are transactions that are okay, have ledger to subledger transactions, there are no discrepancies. The system has reconciled this and flagged them as okay. This you can also see by clicking on the reconciled transactions, and you would see a list of these transactions that have been reconciled. Now, this is a list of the transactions that have been reconciled across different subledgers, the transactions, the journal batch numbers, the vouchers, what date the transactions were posted as well, and account names that are related to this transaction, as well as the main accounts. When we navigate back, we would also see the addressed exceptions. This is the agent trying to match these exceptions. These discrepancies have been reviewed and matched by the agent and hence transferred to ledger. These are addressed exceptions. However, the most important part is the open exceptions, and this is the AI agent looking through your transactions and letting you know that you have exceptions, transactions that are in the ledger but not the subledger, transactions that are in the subledger but not the ledger. And this is the point that your finance teams would find very helpful. What do? They click on the mitigate exceptions, and then the system shows them a list of transactions and why they are exceptions. Now, these transactions we have here, some are in the subledger but not in the ledger, in the ledger and not in the subledger, and so on and so forth. For each one of them, the system also suggests what you can do to reconcile them, either to create a journal entry, match exceptions, or accept without change. But this can vary from scenario to scenario, and it is dependent on the finance teams to review and actually action correctly. The AI agent is not here to fix the issues that you have, but rather to provide recommendations, letting you know that these transactions are failing within your system, and then recommending what actions to take. So to summarize, what the account reconciliation agent is doing here, it's continuously comparing the AP subledger against the general ledger, surfacing any breaks in real time, instead of your finance team manually ticking and tying at month's end. The system proactively surfaces this during the period so you can resolve them early. So let me highlight the 4 core benefits. Enhanced efficiency, because exceptions are caught continuously, you're not scrambling at period end, and this results in dramatic reductions in month-end cycle. The second benefit would be the proactive management. The agent identifies discrepancies and suggests mitigations before they compound. So you're resolving small issues while they are still small. Improved transparency. Every exception is logged. Every action, whether taken by a user, automation, or the agent itself, is tracked. And this is critical for audit and compliance. And then, finally, regular reconciliation. Because you're no longer dependent on a period-end manual process, financial records stay current, which improves decision-making throughout the month. So for a quick setup perspective, this is supposed to run on a Dynamics 365 Finance version 44 or later, and it is set up through the feature management, enabling the account reconciliation agent feature. The collections coordinator summary. Now let's move to accounts receivable, specifically to the collections coordinator summary. These are on by default in Microsoft Dynamics 365 version 39, Finance version 39. And what problems do this solve? Collections agents deal with a constant cognitive overload. Before they pick up the phone or send an email to a customer about due invoices or overdue invoices, they need to build a full picture. How long has this customer been overdue? What's their payment history? What's their outstanding balance? Do they have remaining credit? And historically, that meant opening multiple screens, running aging reports, and manually piecing together context. And for a team managing dozens of accounts, that prep time adds up real fast. So what this feature does is, inside the collections coordinator workspace, your team already has a view of customers with the highest balances and most overdue amounts. What Microsoft does is just to add a summary by Copilot field on the collections coordinator details page for any selected customer. Now, this AI-generated summary draws on the payment history for the past 12 months, outstanding debt amounts, invoices from the last 6 months. It synthesizes all of this into a clear, readable overview with no report generation required. And there's more, because from the same page, collections agents can click Create Reminder Email, and Copilot will draft a reminder letter using the customer-specific data from D365 Finance. One important point, though, is that the email is just a suggestion. Microsoft is clear that it's the user's responsibility to review and confirm that the content is accurate, complete, and appropriate before sending. The AI quite alright does the heavy lifting, but the human retains oversight. So to enable this collections coordinator summary, this is also turned on by default from the feature management. Both the collections coordinator workspace and the collections coordinator summary feature are on by default from the D365 version 39 onwards. To use the Copilot functionality, you need a Copilot app installed in your Dataverse environment and the feature enabled. In the case that is not, but it's always enabled automatically. Now we go quickly into the demo for the credit and collections coordinator summary. For the credit and collections summary, I will navigate through the credit and collections module, the workspaces, and then the collections coordinator. Here you would see a summary by Copilot section. Here first, the collections coordinator gives you an overview of all the highest balances that you have across your customers as well as your aged balances. And then we would have to select a specific customer account to view further detail about this customer. And this is where Copilot comes in to give you actionable insight about this particular customer. So I click on the customer account and I select my customer. I would work with this customer and click on View Customer Detail. With customer detail opened up, we can actually see the AI agent trying to generate the summary based on the insights, based on the information that is available for this customer. And it's interesting that the summary has gone on to tell us that this particular customer typically pays late. Now, this is information that you get at the tip of your finger without necessarily trying to generate multiple reports at different times to have insight on what your customer balances are your customer payment behavior are ahead of your meetings. Now, it's also interesting to know that not only does this agent or this AI feature let us know what our balances and payment history is for the customer, we are able to create a reminder email, and this is quite helpful for collection agents. Once you click on the create reminder email, the system prompts you to let you know that the reminder email will be created by AI, and of course lets you know that you need to review this accordingly, ensuring that it is complete, accurate, and appropriate before using. Once you go on to click on yes, then your emails are generated. With the email generated, this is what we see. Might not be how you want to structure it as a team, but then you can go ahead, structure accurately, and then end up sending to your customer. The third feature, the customer page summary, is closely related to the credits and collections summary. However, this serves a broader audience. While the collections coordinator summary is designed specifically for the AR collection workflows, the customer page summary is an embedded AI summary available directly on the customer record itself. It's accessible to anyone working with customer data in D365 Finance, providing customer account status and insight. And this helps in making better decisions about customers. It's also available from version 39 onwards. Now, when you open a customer account, Copilot generates a summary that can include recent invoices, payment activity, open sales order and sales agreements, outstanding balances, and overdue invoices. The result is a 360-degree snapshot of the customer's position, consolidated at the top of the page, generated on demand without having the user navigate across tabs and subforms. Now, this feature benefits account managers who are getting prepped for customer calls in seconds, finance analysts for checking instant credit review without tab switching, sales reps checking order status before following up, and collection agents needing a broader view beyond just overdue invoices. In each case, the principle is the same: reduce the time between opening a record and understanding what matters. Now, let us quickly look at this and how it plays out within the system. For the customer page summary, this is quite similar to the previous summary that we had looked at, the credit and collection summary. However, this gives a 360 snapshot of what the customer is with your business, and this we can see quickly by navigating to our accounts receivable module. Click on this, and then we navigate to all customers. Once we click on all customer, we can select our customer record that we want to get information on, and then the system gives us a summary of this customer. We'll also be using the same customer accounts that we had initially checked, and we'll see that the information is also the same across board. Once we open up the customer record, we see the summary by Copilot. The system lets us know what the status is, what the insight is as well for this customer. You're able to quickly get insight on your customer just by opening up the customer record, seeing the insight, and then you can work with this information regarding your customer. I want to pause here and name something. What Microsoft is doing with these embedded summaries is essentially changing the starting point of every interaction. So the old model previously was open a record, navigate around, piece together context, and then make a decision. However, the new model is open a record, summary already surfaced, move to decision faster. So that shift compounds across hundreds of transactions per month. It's not really dramatic in any single interaction, but at scale, it meaningfully changes how much cognitive energy your team has left for strategic work. And the last but not the least feature that we are looking at today will be the workflow history summary. This summary and this feature is one that almost every D365 user will relate to instantly. And what problem does this solve? If you've ever needed to understand where an approval workflow stands, whether it's a purchase order, a vendor invoice, a journal, or even an expense report, you know what this looks like without this feature. You open a workflow history page, and you scroll and scroll and scroll. And you're scrolling through a chronological list of every approval action, delegation, rejection, or even resubmission. most times with minimal context per entry. So, and for a long-running or complex workflow, just understanding the current status could take several minutes. So what does the workflow history summary do? It adds a summary by Copilot field at the top of any workflow history page. And this summary includes the submitter, the submitted dates, the current status, and any comments added during the process. And the most recent workflow actions, approvals, delegations, rejections, change requests in chronological order. All of this is surfaced at the top in a single readable block before you scroll into a detailed log. Now, this feature is particularly valuable for workflow approvers who need to quickly understand context before taking an action, especially when they are picking up a workflow someone else started or returning to one after a delay. So instead of trying to reconstruct what had happened, the summary tells you, here's where this started, here's what has happened, and here is where it stands now. Let's quickly look at how this plays out within the system. The workflow history summary, of course, also similar to the other summaries that we have reviewed previously. This, I would be checking for a purchase requisition workflow history. This is one that I've done, and this is one that is beneficial to everyone within the team, not just the approver, but also the submitter, to know where their record is at every given point in time. So I will navigate straight to the procurement and sourcing module and go to my purchase requisition. Now I will be selecting this last purchase requisition, and then to the workflow button, click on workflow history, just as you would when you are trying to see what the different steps that have been taken within your workflow order, your workflow item is. As well, once you open this up, you also see the summary by Copilot as well, which gives you a workflow status, when this workflow was submitted, who submitted it, what comments did they have, who took the approve action, when did they do this, was there any comments, as well as if this was delegated, from whom was it delegated to who, and with what conditions or comments during this delegation process. This gives you a 360 overview of what has happened on your workflow item without necessarily trying to go through the workflow tracking details list, reviewing every action, and trying to make sense of what has happened at a given time. Now, the workflow history summary feature is on by default as of D365 Finance version 39. And just like every other Copilot feature, it requires the Copilot app in your database environment. And it applies to all workflow types, both in Dynamics 365, finance, and supply chain management. So this isn't limited to financial workflows. It is available wherever workflows exist. It's also important to note that this is currently not extendable. So you can't customize the fields it surfaces, but the out-of-box experience is already well suited to the core use cases. In conclusion, I'm bringing it all together. Let's look at all four features together. The account reconciliation agent is found within the general ledger, and it gives us a continuous close and proactive exception resolution. The collections coordinator summary is found within the accounts receivable module, and it helps with instant customer debt profile as well as AI-drafted emails. The customer page summary is found within the customer records, giving us a 360 customer snapshot at point of need. And then the workflow history summary is found across all workflows, giving us instant approval context without log scrolling. All the features require Copilot installed in Dataverse, a Power Platform integration enabled, and Azure OpenAI region availability. Now, these features are not gimmicks. Each one of them is solving a real named pain point that finance operations teams have lived with for years. And in conclusion, the last bit, an honest caveat is to note that poor data, faster descriptions of problems. So if master data is inconsistent, Copilot will surface that faster but not fix it. So you still require your clean processes in order to unlock full value. And lastly, human oversight is non-negotiable. AI-generated emails, recommendations, and summaries are suggestions. Review before acting always. Thank you.
That was a great overview, Chiamaka. Thank you for that. If I want to know more, what steps could I take?
Certainly, there's still a lot more features, a lot more AI functionalities within the ERP system, but you can reach out for a demo, for a chat, and we can take it from there.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.